Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something I know so many of you struggle with, hitting that dreaded brick wall in your English fluency. You know the exact feeling, right? You put in the hours, you study hard, but when it's time for a real-world conversation, nothing. Well, today, we are going to demystify exactly what's happening in your brain and, more importantly, give you the tactical tools to go from slow, frustrating progress to genuinely confident conversations. So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the reality of slow progress. Then we'll cover daily solo practice habits, tackle that tricky intermediate fluency plateau, and finally, talk about having real conversations under pressure. Let's get right into it.
Starting with Part 1, the reality of slow progress. We really need to examine the emotional weight of feeling stuck, because honestly, this is the exact spot where most people give up.
So why does language progress often feel completely invisible? When you practice but don't immediately feel different, your inner voice starts to panic. It whispers those uncomfortable questions like, why is this taking so long? Or everyone else is moving faster, what is wrong with me? But listen, it is absolutely crucial to understand that slow progress is just incredibly easy to misunderstand. Fast progress? Boom, you see it instantly. But slow progress sneaks up on you. And because you don't notice it day to day, you mistakenly think nothing is happening at all.
I absolutely love this quote. Slow progress asks you to trust something you cannot fully see yet. Our minds totally crave clear results. We want hard proof, a dramatic leap forward. But real growth, it usually just leaves these quiet, ordinary signs. It demands patience. You really have to trust the invisible work happening behind the scenes in your brain.
We always expect progress to feel like this massive victory, like a rocket ship launching us straight to fluency with our motivation on high all the time. But the reality looks vastly different. Sometimes progress literally just looks like trying again today instead of quitting. It's those small, ordinary moments, like suddenly understanding a sentence on a podcast without having to translate every single word in your head. That right there, that is actual, genuine progress.
Moving on to Part 2, daily solo practice habits. Now that we've accepted progress is slow and steady, what should we actually be doing every single day? Okay, our absolute foundational habit is shadowing. If you haven't tried this, it's a real game changer. You just listen to a short English conversation, maybe a 3-minute video or podcast, and you repeat it out loud right after the speaker. The key is to actively mimic their tone, their pauses, and their pronunciation. This practically wires your brain to recognize the natural sounds and rhythm of English. Next up is the 60-second topic rule. Here's how it works. You pick a topic, set a timer, and speak out loud for 60 seconds without stopping. If you make a mistake, you just push through. This is so important because it trains your brain to prioritize forward motion over perfection. In the real world, genuine conversations punish hesitation way more than a tiny grammar slip. If you freeze to fix a small error, you totally kill the conversational flow.
To do this, you can just use simple, everyday prompts to practice. They are fantastic for answering conversational questions cold. Ask yourself something basic, like, what's my favorite food? Or, where do I want to travel next? Pick one, hit record on your phone, and just talk for a straight minute. It is a brilliant way to track your progress over time.
So, wrapping up your essential solo toolkit, talk to yourself out loud for a couple of minutes a day, record your answer to one specific question, watch English content with subtitles, and then, this is key, watch it again without them to really force that active listening. And finally, reuse your new vocabulary in your own spoken sentences. These exercises take maybe 10 to 15 minutes a day, but they are exactly how you build pronunciation and sentence construction confidence right from your own home.
All right, Part 3, the intermediate fluency plateau. Because eventually, just when those daily habits are working beautifully, you're going to hit a wall. Let's look at a typical timeline. After about 8 to 10 weeks of solid solo practice, you'll naturally transition into that lower intermediate level. Your solo recordings will start sounding amazing, but right around week 8, you're going to experience diminishing returns. Those solo exercises just won't move the needle the way they used to.
So how do you know you've hit the plateau? Well, the symptoms are pretty obvious. You sound great alone, but your first sentences with a live person are super shaky. You can answer a rehearsed question perfectly, but the second someone asks an unexpected follow-up, boom, absolute panic and you just freeze. You might even start finding excuses to skip your solo practice. But listen, the reason for this is mechanical, not a lack of motivation. You've basically learned how to be fluent when you're completely relaxed, but not when you're under the emotional pressure of a real human interaction.
Which brings us to a pretty hard truth. You simply cannot become fluent in a conversation muscle without ever having actual conversations under pressure. That freeze response when you're talking to a new person, the only way to loosen that up is through repeated exposure to real strangers speaking English with you. Solo practice is great, but it just can't simulate that social pressure.
That leads perfectly into part 4, real conversations under pressure. This is how we actually break through that plateau.
Think of it like this. Solo practice builds your foundation. It's for your vocabulary, your pronunciation, and your structural confidence. But live practice? That is what actually closes the fluency gap. It builds your stress tolerance, it trains your spontaneous reflexes, and it provides real-time error correction. You really can't hear your own mistakes while you're making them. You literally need another human being for that.
So what's the fastest path forward? It is this ultimate combined stack. Keep your basic muscles warm every single day with 10 minutes of solo shadowing and the 60-second rule. Add 5 minutes of pronunciation drilling. But here is the magic ingredient. Add 3 to 5 short, live, one-on-one sessions per week with a real person or an expert. This combo keeps your foundation solid while actively building those under-pressure reflexes.
As you start stepping into live practice, keep this in mind. Confidence does not come before action. It comes from action. You can't wait until you feel perfect to start speaking. Every single mistake is just proof that you're trying. Saying something like, "I have many homeworks," isn't a failure. It just means you're learning the rules of the road. Trying, even imperfectly, is always, always better than hiding your voice.
We know slow progress is still progress. So the only question left is this. Will you wait around for some imaginary day of perfection? Or will you take that first small step today? Whether it's recording your very first 60-second voice memo or booking a quick chat with a stranger, your true fluency is waiting right on the other side of that action. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep pushing forward.